Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ted. Happy birthday to you. It's your birthday today. Happy birthday. How old are you? 7. Yay. And you've got a book for us to read. Oh, the next story. The next story is called What Happened to the Snowman. Everyone stared at the big white bears in horror. No one had thoughts about the chimney. What a pity they hadn't stopped it up. I'm going to let the magic snowman in, said the first white bear. Then the father bear spoke up in a very sorry voice. Cousin, why are we enemies? We have always been good friends till now. The 4 white bears looked at him and at the mother bear and the baby bear. In sudden amazement, they rushed at them with loud, oomphy voices. Joe thought they were going to fight the 3 bears, and he took up a jug from the table to help his friends. But no, the white bears were not going to fight. They were hugging the 3 bears as tightly as they could, and to the children's amazement, tears were pouring down their furry faces. Oh, why didn't we know it was you, said the white bears. Why, cousins, we would never have fought if only we had known you were the 3 bears we love so much. There, said Mother Bear, wiping tears from a white bear's fur. It's all right, but for goodness sake, tell the other bears that we're friends. We don't want the front door bashed down. Moonface opened the door and yelled out, Bears, it's all right. This is the cottage of your cousins, the 3 bears. We're all friends. But the white bears didn't answer or come in. Instead, a big white shape came up and squeezed through the door. The magic snowman! A chill fell over the room. The white bears were frightened of him, for he was their master. He shut the door and glared at everyone out of his stone eyes. So, even my own bears have gone to the enemy, he said. Oh ho, what will you say if I turn you all into ice and snow, every one? Nobody said anything, but to the bear's surprise, Moonface shut the door, and then he went to the fire. He put on 3 big logs, and he winked at Bessie. Winked means if you just close one eye a little bit. The snowman took up a white bear by the scuff of the neck and shook him. So, you found your voices, did you? He said. Didn't I tell you that we were only allowed to say oomph and not to speak any words to anyone? I don't want bears that talk. He picked up another white bear and he shook him too. So you are friends with my enemies, are you? He said. The room became very hot. Joe took off his coat, so did the others. Moonface slyly put on another log on the fire. Why do you think he's doing that, Ted? Why does he keep putting logs on the fire? Oh, let's find out, will we? The fire crackled and shot great flames up the chimney. Franny wished she could take everything off. She was so hot. What does Moonface think he's doing making the room so hot, she thought crossly. But just as she was about to tell him to put the guard around the fire, he winked at her, and she said nothing. When you wink at someone, it means you have a secret. Moonface had some kind of plan he was carrying out. The snowman went on, grumbling and threatening, and everyone listened and said nothing. Moonface poked the fire, and it got hotter and hotter. Now, this is what I'm going to do, said the magic snowman. I'm going to take this nice little cottage for myself, and I shall live here, and all of you can live out in the snow and freeze for all I care. You will wait on me and will do whatever I say. Yes, said everyone. They all knew now what Moonface's plan was. What do you think his plan was, Ted? Oh, you think you know what he was going to do you? Okay, let's see if you're right. He meant to make the room so hot that the magic snowman would melt. Clever old Moonface. A little trickle of water began to run down the snowman's broad back, which was near the fire. Moonface pointed to it secretly and grinned. Franny thought Moonface's beaming face looked so funny that she began to giggle. She really couldn't help it. The baby bear gave a high squeak of a giggle and then wept bitterly because the snowman hit him. "How dare you laugh?" shouted the snowman angrily. "Outside, all of you, outside. This is my cottage now. Not one of you shall stay here." So they all went outside except Moonface, who crouched behind a big chair, determined not to leave the fire in case it went down low. Outside it was freezing cold. The white bears quickly dug up a big snow wall and made a high shelter so that the others could be sheltered from the wind. They crouched there, cuddling close to one another for warmth. The big white bears wrapped their furry arms around the children, who warmed them beautifully. Joe thought they were very kind indeed. They waited and they waited and they waited. They could see smoke pouring from the chimney of the cottage, and they knew that Moonface must be keeping the fire up. The bears oomphed every now and again, and the children whispered to one another. Then suddenly, the door of the cottage was flung open, and Moonface stood there, his big face smiling like a full moon. "You can come back now," he shouted. "It's quite safe." They all crowded back into the cottage. Joe looked for the snowman, but he was gone. There was nothing to show that he had been there except a very large puddle of water. "He melted very quickly," said Moonface. "He may have been very magic and very powerful, but he was just made of snow after all, so he melted like a real snowman on a sunny morning." The polar bears oomphed in delight. They had hated being servants to the snowman. "We'll say goodbye to you now," they said to the three bears. "This cottage is cosy, but it's too hot for us. Come and see us again whenever you like. Goodbye." Everyone hugged them goodbye, and Joe felt quite sad to see them go. Moonface shut the door after them. "Now, let's get back home," he said. I'm a bit tired of this land. Come on, bears, help me get back to the cottage safely." When he didn't do the same magic as before. He put a big circle on the floor in blue chalk, and the three bears stood inside holding onto their paws. Moonface danced around them, singing strange magic words. A wind rose up and the cottage rocked. Darkness came, and for a moment no one could see anything. Then gradually the darkness went and the wind blew no more. The sun shone warmly in the window, and Bessie gave a shout. "I say, we're back in the Enchanted Wood, in a corner of where we first saw the cottage, and it's daytime now, not nighttime." "Well, we've been having this adventure all night long," said Moonface with a laugh. "It's sunrise now, and the night is gone. You'd better hurry off home, children, or you'll be scolded for leaving your beds at night." They hugged Goldilocks and they shook hands with the three bears. "We'll come back and see you some other time," said Franny. "Thank you so much for all your help." Goldilocks and the bears stood at the door and waved goodbye to Moonface, and the three children hurried down the lane back to catch the train to the Enchanted Wood. It wasn't long before they got to the station, waited for the train, slid off the roof and climbed in. When they got back to the Enchanted Wood, they said goodbye to Moonface, and Franny gave him a kiss for being such a good help. He was so pleased that he went red all over his big moon face. Oh my goodness, I think that's called being embarrassed. "You look like a setting sun now," she said. "You really ought to be called Sunface. Goodbye, see you soon." "I hope," called Moonface. Off went the children home and got into bed just an hour before their mother called them to get up. Goodness me, they were sleepy all that day. And that's the end of that story. And the next story is called Moonface Gets Into Trouble. Uh-oh, Ted. I wonder what's going to happen next.